Welcome to the Roomba 780 versus Roomba 880 comparison. Just first, a little bit about iRobot. They're essentially the industry leaders in home robotics. They have generated about $487 million in revenue. They have hundreds of the top industry professionals employed, a lot of the top scientists from MIT and similar institutions. And right now, they're basically the industry leader. They have a number of robotic vacuums as well as other home appliances, and traditionally also in the military industry. They have some robots that have helped defuse bombs and things like that, and they've adapted this technology over to the domestic side and have been rolling it out with their robotic vacuums. First, just a little bit about the Roomba in particular. It's a floor cleaner, just like a vacuum. It uses the iAdapt responsive navigation technology, which is essentially the core of what the Roombas offer. It's a proprietary system or technology that they've been developing for a number of years, and has really started to mature in recent years and actually be comparable to traditional vacuums in terms of the cleaning power. And to do this, it's been able to, navigate rooms effectively, clean along the edges, avoiding stairs, loose wires, and other hazards. So it's really become less of a kind of a toy and more of an actual productive home appliance. The 700 series is a little bit of an older series. The 800 series is the most recent one, but the 700 series is still one of the most popular series they have out there. They have a variety of vacuums on the market, the 760, 770, 780, and 790. There are subtleties between each one, but essentially they use the same core technology, and you can see listed on the left here just a number of the features. Like I mentioned, the iAdapt technology, their persistent pass cleaning, which essentially goes over the surface area multiple times to ensure that every last bit of dust and debris is cleaned up. They also have their patented dustbin, and then they utilize these auto virtual walls, which essentially block the Roomba from entering certain areas. So if you want to limit certain parts of your house or your location, you can do that. They also, some of the higher end models also do feature a remote control, or you can purchase this aftermarket, which allows you to control remotely if you'd like. And then they have their Tech Series 2 technology. Again, this is just another one of their proprietary systems that allows the Roomba to focus in on areas that have particular need and focus their cleaning attention there. They have a variety of other full bin detection systems, the navigation systems. They have a touch control panel on the cover of each Roomba. And like I said, they have those virtual walls, but they all now have a virtual lighthouse, which is basically a laser or a beam of light that protects certain areas from being entered by the Roomba. And with a lot of the Roombas, they come standard with 3 virtual wall lighthouses, although you should definitely check on the box for each model to make sure that that's included. The 800 series is just recently released in the past year. This is the latest series that's out. Right now they just have 2 models, the 870 and the 880, which they're pretty much the same. 880 is a little bit more higher end, but the main reason why this is a superior model, or why iRobot says it's a superior model, is because it has over 50% increased performance or improvement over the 700 series. So that would be the main reason why you'd want to go with the 800 series. And now just to jump into our comparison head-to-head, just to look at some of the features a little bit more closely. Again, this 700 series uses the AeroForce performance cleaning system, and that's kind of the older technology. The main difference, like I said, is that the Roomba 800 series it has improved by up to 50% in terms of being more effective at cleaning up debris. So here are some of the specs for the Roomba 780 and 880. Very similar. A little bit lighter in the new version, so that might be nicer, if you're carrying that around, but it really isn't that heavy to begin with. So in terms of the specs, there's really not that much of a difference. For both the 780 and the 880, they have 3 cleaning modes. There's clean mode, which is basically where the Roomba automatically calculates where to clean and how to clean based off of the size of the room. The spot mode, which is when the Roomba will focus on a particular area and keep spiraling back to where it starts. And then this is scheduled cleaning mode, which basically, if you enter certain parameters for date and time, or to a certain time of the day, say when you're away from work, it'll auto clean on that at that time, so you don't even have to be home necessarily to have it cleaning. Here's some of the cleaning features. Again, the 780 has persistent pass cleaning. It goes back and forth to apply particular focus to certain areas that need a lot of cleaning. So you have a certain patch of carpet that has a lot of dust on it, or a lot of dirt or grime, it'll focus on that area. The Roomba 880, has a number of small improvements. As you can see here, they have the tangle-free aero force extractors, airflow accelerator, and of course it's a higher efficiency vacuum. So it's basically more powerful than the 700 series. And then again, just to touch on the virtual walls, these virtual walls create an invisible barrier so that your Roomba won't cross into a particular room. And each virtual wall does take 2 C alkaline batteries, and they're not included. Just the FYI, in case you're wondering. So this can really help, especially if you have a large home or a large location that you need cleaned. This will help limit the cleaning area. If you say you don't want it to go into the kids' room or something, there's a lot of toys on the ground. This will still allow you to clean your house without having your Roomba wandering off and getting lost in some corners or closets somewhere where you didn't want to go. So there's the manual virtual wall, where you just turn on the virtual wall by hand at the beginning of the cleaning cycle, and then it'll shut off automatically after 135 minutes. And then there's the auto virtual wall, and this is set in auto mode, and the power light continuously blinks to indicate it's on. And then once the batteries are low, it'll indicate twice with continuous blinks that it needs new batteries. So essentially, if you want to save batteries, just switch it to off. The virtual wall lighthouse essentially helps your Roomba navigate again. It's kind of like the virtual wall, but it's a little bit more high tech. It has this lighthouse, so basically a beam that comes out, and it's just a little bit more efficient at blocking off your rooms and effectively containing the Roomba. So just to summarize, overall, here's what we're looking at. So the main thing we're looking at is a price difference here of about $100, which can be significant depending on your budget. Both models do come with the 2 lighthouses, which is really nice. You don't have to go out and purchase that after the fact, and especially if you have a larger home, it's very helpful. Again, they're very similar in terms of the other specs here, as you can see. There's really nothing else that sets them apart. The one thing that the 880 has over the 780 is that it's actually quieter, so it's less noisy, which is nice. Especially if you're used to traditional vacuum, it's virtually background noise. So if you can be watching TV or doing something else and you won't really notice it, which is really nice. And it can also, if you have pets, some they get really scared about having the Roomba racing around. The fact that it's quieter will help them be more at ease with it. The other thing we're looking at is which one is faster, and the Roomba is actually faster. It can clean an average floor in about the time that it takes the 780 model to do the same job, or twice rather. So it's really it's definitely a step up in that category. I think that's the main increase in performance that you'll see. So it's definitely a benefit that might interest you. In terms of the cleaning technology, again, the Roomba 880 just is a little bit better at cleaning and picking up debris. It's not exponentially better. It doesn't render the 700 series irrelevant. They're both very good vacuums. I just want to point out that the 780 is slightly better. iRobot has claimed up to 5 times. I don't know if I would say that, but I think it's definitely an improvement just in my own testing of it. It is certainly better than the 780. In terms of mapping, both Roombas use the same technology, and that really hasn't changed, the fundamental mapping technology. So it will essentially go around your room, and it won't damage your furniture. It'll navigate around items, and it will behave in a kind of a rational way, so it can memorize your schematics for your house. And there really is no difference between the two when it comes to the mapping technology. In terms of maintenance, and this is a pretty important section because these things can get a little bit difficult to maintain. Both of them are pretty low maintenance in terms of looking at the effects they have on your house or your rooms or your furniture. They really don't. They won't knock around furniture. They won't create any damage. They're pretty low maintenance in terms of the impact they'll have on the environment. The other thing to look into is that if you have pets and you have dander, the Aeroforce is particularly skilled at picking up on the pet dander. And between the 780 and the 880, the Roomba is more adept at picking it up. So it's basically going to reduce, more so than the 780, going to reduce the the clumps of hair that are picked up and everything like that. So you're going to see a dramatic improvement in terms of the pet dander. Again, just continuing on with the maintenance, both of them use the Aeroforce design, so it's very similar, and you won't really notice any main difference. Nothing drastically has changed in these two models. You also won't have to spend as much time cleaning brushes, which is important. When the brushes are clogged with hair, it's not entirely enjoyable to have to pick them out, and sometimes if your robot vacuum is not cleaning as effectively, that's usually the reason. So both the 780 and the 880 were built with this in mind, so they can really pick up on the dander, and it won't clog up the machine, and it's really meant to help with pet dander in particular. So the another improvement with the 880 is that it has a larger bin, which means that you're going to have to empty it less frequently, which essentially makes it able to capture a larger area of ground to clean. So it's a nicer feature that you don't have to clean it as frequently, because a lot of times that would be the issue. It wouldn't be the battery so much; it would be that the bin was full and that you'd have to return it, or you'd have to empty it out, and then that's actually it's kind of annoying if you want a hands-free operation. So the 880 definitely has an improvement here. Again, it's going to be helpful if you have a larger home. So it holds about 60% more than the 780 model, and that's a pretty big improvement. So I definitely like that feature. So both models have the same technology in terms of being able to empty or to clean on regular intervals. So you can basically set it and forget it. But the 880 is a little bit nicer, a little bit more intuitive, and I guess it's the touch screen is a little bit easier to interact with, so you're not going to accidentally be setting things off like you would with the 780. So really, if you're in the market for a robotic vacuum, you're not going to spend less than you would necessarily on a traditional vacuum. These are a little bit pricey still, but they're not that pricey when you think of it. I mean, they're for a hands-free operation and the time saved, it's not too bad. The main difference is that the Roomba is going to be about $100 more than the 780, which is up to you depending on your budget if that's worth the added features are worth it. I'd say if you're a brand new robotic vacuum owner, I'd go with the 780 because you're not really going to notice that much of a difference, and it's a better kind of entry point without falling too far behind the technology. And the 880 I would recommend for someone who has maybe one of the older iterations, or even someone who has a 700 series but is a little bit unhappy and is looking for something more. I think that would be the right move, is to upgrade to the 880. So thanks so much for your time. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave it below, and see you next time.